Okay, so the first thing is BlackBerry is going to be releasing their earnings for Q2 on September 22nd, 2021 on a Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time after the trading bell. This is a good sign because it's not earlier than expected, but it's earlier than usual, which could potentially mean that it could be an earnings beat. So not a guarantee, but a potential. And also we have this overall cycle right here, which I've shown multiple times in the past, where it came down, bounced off the upward trend support level in December of 2020, January 2021, went up, hit resistance, came back down, bounced off support level again, resistance, coming down, potentially forming a triangle, could break out in middle of November if earnings, patent sale, all stuff does not bear fruit. But either way, for the most part, went up to the upside, was expecting a pullback, was a little bit amplified more because the markets were going down as well, came back down in this channel. But the good news is, because BlackBerry and Microsoft are partnering up with something additionally, which I'll mention in the next video, but they're partnering up in terms of Microsoft Office, etc., etc. Good news, going up to the upside. Was expecting to go to the upside in the next trading day, not necessarily today or at the end of today. I thought maybe potentially because of the following reasons. I'm going to explain what those reasons are, and I'm going to explain why potentially it could get pulled down, but I'm not expecting that because of the announcement that was made today. So awesome stuff overall. I'm going to show the support levels, the resistance levels in terms of what price points you might want to enter at in terms of support levels, what price points are going to cause issues to break through them in terms of resistance levels. This downward trend resistance line, yes, it only has 2 touch points, but it could still act as resistance nonetheless. So in case if you want to know what that price point is, if we were to spike up right now, which is $14.08, we might have issues passing that price point. There's going to be a lot of resistance leading up to it, but that's if we were to skyrocket right now, which most likely won't be the case right now. But today is September 9th, 2021. And then if we were drop down like a rock to this upward trend support line, then you're looking at support levels at low $9 price point, but $9.10. But there's a lot of support between that before we get to that, especially this channel right here. By channel, what I mean is you come down, bounce off support, go up, hit resistance, support, resistance, stayed in this channel, was afraid that when we got pulled back dramatically, hypothetically, because of the markets as well, then I thought we might get stuck by this resistance level, by the channel, sorry about that. But was expecting a breakout anyway because of the following reasons. So first thing, if you look at the RSI chart right about here, actually before I continue, like always, I'm not a financial advisor, I'm not a professional. Everything I do share with you is just my opinion, it is not advice. So please do your own due diligence and research before buying and selling. Also, if you find this video helpful and you like it, consider dropping a like. It does help out the channel, so thank you so much for that. Appreciate it. And if you like videos like this or other financial videos, consider subscribing so be notified when I do upload those videos. Thanks again. Appreciate it again. So in terms of RSI chart, this indicates if it's oversold or overbought, and it was oversold. In fact, it was extremely oversold too before the markets opened for today, and expected a somewhat of a bounce back at one point, especially combined with the MAC line. So this MAC line indicates if it's bearish or a bullish movement. So in terms of 3-month chart, 3-month movement, it was approaching a potential crossover. Well, actually right now it already crossed over, so it's in the positive, it isn't in the bullish movement, it is optimistic. And if you go to the 1-month chart, before today, it was in the oversold territory as well. It was actually bouncing multiple times. So not just like the 3-month chart. 3-month chart just recently got there, but with the 1-month chart, it was bouncing off multiple times. And right now it's in the overbought territory, but the MAC line is not showing any slowdown for the time being. Mainly, in my opinion, because of news. Right now, we're having issues potentially passing this moving average right here, but I'll explain the price points in terms of resistance levels and all stuff moving forward soon right now in this video. So if we go to the 6-month chart, we were in the oversold territory. In fact, in the extremely sold territory as well. And the MAC line right now, yes, and it is in the negative. It is in the bearish movement right now for the time being, but it is anticipating to cross over to the positive. Is it a guarantee it has to cross over to positive? No, it doesn't have to. It could come back down before it does, but I don't anticipate that to happen. I expect it to cross over to the positive because it is extremely close, but again, could get knocked down by the moving average rate about here, which is showing about $11.11, which we could see it barely passed $11.12, but either way, could have a false breakout too and get pulled back down. But I'll explain why potentially I was expecting a run up and then a pullback down, and it's going to be the following reasons right after I mentioned this. So RSI chart was coming from extremely oversold. It's going up to potentially overbought, but it has more room to grow because MAC line could cross over to a positive before that happens, which would be a great sign leading up for a more potential run up. Again, because the news of BlackBerry and Microsoft, awesome stuff overall. And anticipation of the earnings coming up relatively soon, September 22nd, plus a potential patent sale to be announced during that time, or at least some major news. I'm going to release that video today in terms of the patent sale and information, all stuff, and as to why potentially could be released the next earnings release date, which is the end of December. Most likely anticipating this earnings release date, but there is a potential, just keep in mind that it could be at the end of December as well instead of this earnings release date. Now, the reason why potentially I was expecting a pullback, expecting the run up initially, but then a potential pullback for the following reason before the news came out though. So keep in mind, if it wasn't for the news, was expecting, for example, a reversal to the upside, maybe at the end of the trading day of today, which is September 9th, 2021 on a Thursday, and then most likely a reversal to the upside on a Friday, the next trading day, but then a pullback later on. So a good reversal to the upside and then a pullback later on for the following reason. So here's the 1 year chart. In terms of the 1 year movement, it looked like it was going to cross over to the negative, becoming a bearish movement. Now, I stated in the last video when we were right about here, I think, I stated that in the past, we've had times where it became lighter shade of green, smaller bars. You could be concerned about coming back down, but you don't have to be too concerned because earnings coming out, potential patent sale, stuff like that, where it could reverse back up to the upside. Is it a guarantee? No, it's not a guarantee. It could reverse the upside and it could come back down, but there's a potential, and I was thinking maybe it could. The only downfall is it was getting extremely close where it could have crossed over to the negative. Is it possible right now? It is still possible, but because of the news, I think it's really good news in my opinion that it could reverse the upside. It got extremely close though. I was starting to get worried myself personally, but good thing is it's potentially could still fully reverse to the upside. Even though it's trying to reverse right now, but it could potentially come back down. So either way, I digress. The 5 year chart, this was not necessarily the 1 year chart was kind of worrying me, but mainly the 5 year chart. The 5 year chart, like I've explained it before, this is the upward trend support line for the 3 month chart. So you could only imagine it's for the 5 year chart. It's not a clean 5 year chart upward trend support line, but pretend it came down, bounced off support, went up to the upside, came back down, bounced off support, went up to the upside, came down, bounced off support, went up to the upside. Potentially could have came back down, but this was the biggest alarm right here. So this MAC line, it showed a solid red bar like we've seen in the past, potentially indicating a more of a downside potentially coming, even though it was going to spike up. So these charts are more for the short term. The 5 year chart and the 1 year chart are more for the long term, especially for the 5 year chart. So it's starting to curve down a little bit. So to visually show a continuation, potentially could go like this. That isn't for earnings is not that great if patent sale does not get released, so on and so forth. But because it became a light shade of red again, back to instead of the solid red, there's a potential that it could, instead of coming down to bounce off the support level that I might have showed earlier, it's probably going to just start reversing to the upside instead. Now, I'm going to play out the scenarios. If it were to come back down, what price points you could rely on as support, or if it goes up, what price points are going to cause issues to break through. So I'm going to go through the downside first, and then if everything doesn't play out correctly, then you could expect a breakout in the middle of November for the most part for this triangle right here with the downward trend resistance line, upward trend support line, plus combined with if the patent sale does not get released right now, then that catalyst of November plus the end of December catalyst of the patent sale, it'll be a nice run up towards the end of the year. Not a guarantee like always again. Now, because we got that pullback, was concerned about this channel right here, but broke through it, awesome stuff. Trying to break through these moving averages right about here, which is the ballpark, again, like I stated, around basically $11.08, $11.12, $11.11, right about here. So hopefully break through it, hopefully pass through it. But like I said, I was going to mention the downside first. So let me mention the downside. If we go down, we're going to have support between the 1070, 1080, 1090 range for the most part. Plus the $11 price point could act as support level, but we're so close to it right now, it might not be the level that you're probably concerned about for the time being. Then we have $10.50, 1055, 1050, so around there for that most part. Then we have support at the 1035, give or take, so 1030 range. Well, actually, sorry about that. 1045 to 1055, around that ballpark. Then that 1035. Then the low $10 price point, so it's I think it was $10.04 to $10.07, around that ballpark. So low $10 price point, then $10, then $9.80. So these are all horizontal support levels that I'm mentioning. So in terms of like horizontal support and resistance, what I mean is you can see right about here this horizontal resistance level where it went up to $12.38, $12.36, $12.37, went up and got knocked down, and then same price point went up and got knocked down at that same price point, give or take, around that range. So horizontally right here, you can see went up to $12.38, $12.37 to $12.36, got knocked down twice. Same thing with support levels. If it were to come back down to support level, like you can see right here with this channel, around the 980, came down, bounced off, came down, bounced off. So the next level after the $10 price point would be the $9.80 range, give or take between like 970, 980, whatever. And then after that, you have these false breakouts we saw at the 950. So after the 980 price point range, 970, 980, you have that $950 price point. Again, I don't think it's going to drop down like a rock to the upward trend support level like I mentioned. Most likely it would break through these support levels first before it got to that. So it would be a slow bleeding, technically, drop if it were to come back down. And then the longer it takes, the lower the high will be. So if it does it, for example, September 24th, you're looking at $9.45 instead of the low $9 price point. And then that $9.50 is quite a bit of good support we've seen in the past. So I think that would continue all the way till earnings anyway, worst case scenario, if it were to drop down. And the way it would play out if it were to drop down is because the markets are coming down. We saw before, was expecting that pullback, but because the markets were going down as well, then it was acting as a catalyst for a more bigger drop overall for the most part, which unfortunately was not that great for us. It does suck overall. But either way, I digress. For the upside, the resistance levels we're looking at is pretty much breaking that $11.07 right now because we already broke through $11 price point. Then after that, we're looking to break through $11.16 to $11.18. Then we're looking to break $11.35 and then $11.50. Hopefully we break through $11.50. I don't think necessarily we'll break it today. I'll keep you posted if we do. But then again, like I said, we could go straight up to $14, low $14 price point for the most part. But the major resistance level I'm looking to break after $11.50, actually I'll just go through them right now. So the next one is between $11.83, $11.90, somewhere around there, and then the $12 price point. But the main one I'm looking to break, yes, there is resistance between $12 and this next price point, but the major concern is $11 and $12.38, $12.36, $12.37. Hopefully we break through that, which we could probably account for false breakouts too, because $12.50 is going to be difficult to pass. Once we break through those and get to past that range, we know we're in good shape to break the higher resistance levels. There is a major one that I've mentioned in the past. I'll mention it one more time right now. That $13.94, $13.93, essentially that $13.90 range. You need to break through that because that $14 price point clean is extremely difficult to break through. So combine that with this downward trend resistance line, that low $14 price point. I hopefully break through it. Hopefully we have some major good news during that time. Just like today, for example, was afraid this channel is going to keep us down, this channel right here, which is pretty much between 980 to like 1090 for the most part. I thought we were going to get kept down underneath that whole entire time, but because of the Microsoft and BlackBerry news, amazing stuff, broke through it, and now looking just to break through that moving average right about here. So hopefully that works out. I feel like I'm missing something. I apologize. If I do, I'll comment. If I am missing something, I'll comment down below in the comments down below. If you like the video, consider dropping a like. It does help the channel, so thank you so much for that. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to ask. I'll try to answer as soon as possible. And if you like videos like this or other financial videos, other stock videos, consider subscribing to be notified when I do upload those videos. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.